Ah, another day of editing and recording and then uploading done. Time to check out YouTube and see what's happening there while I relax. Oh hey, the boys held a Beyblade tournament. That's pretty sick.
Sorry about that, chat. I just wanted to show you the carpet. That's where the Beyblade Stadium's gonna be. How are you all doing?
Man, I miss Beyblade. That was so cool to play as a kid. Never as cool as the anime, of course, because, you know, blades don't really shoot fire in real life. Maybe I should do a video on that at some point. Wait, what's this? A game that Pete's been playing that's up to episode 14 and I didn't know about? The hell's going on? Man, and he's basically done 14 parts in a row. What the hell is this? Hang on. Umamusume? I know that name. That's that anime that came out back in 2018 about the horse girls that just run. Why the hell is Pete playing a game about that? Let's see if anyone else is playing it. Oh, well, it seems everybody and their mother is playing it. Huh. I wonder if they all know it originally comes from an anime. If only there was a disembodied voice attached to a PNG flappy mouth character that could possibly tell everyone about the anime. Wait a minute. Ohayou gozaimasu. Watashi wa Berks desu. Channel ni yokoso. And yeah, today we are talking about an anime that has somehow spawned a game that has grabbed the attention of all the world with some of that glorious gacha that appeared out of absolute thin air, only to turn the entire of NihonTube, anitube, and weebtube on its head. Umamusume Pretty Derby is a pretty basic gacha that is based on the anime Umamusume itself. It's a game that gives players the ability to take the reins of training their own stable of horse girls from the esteemed Traisen Academy, sharing a journey with one horse girl at a time as you take her all the way from her debut race to the Ura Grand Final, racing in every major race of the season, from the G3 series all the way to the G1 Climax series, utilizing support cards that are in fact all other horse girls from the universe of Umamusume, all in an effort of helping your own horse girl be the very best she possibly can be. A shining star of horse girls, the greatest horse girl she possibly can be, and put the rest to shame. And that's it. There's not much to this game, alright? There's not much. It's a pretty basic gacha that has a game mode in there to hide the gacha of it. But at the end of the day, it's just a gacha. There's not much to it. I mean, like I said, it's a gacha game. You can't be expecting Elden Ring levels of writing here. The whole point of the game is to entice you to part with your hard-earned cash to have a chance of pulling either an SSR horse girl or support card to aid you in your next attempt at getting to the Ura finals. And then rinse, repeat, and rinse and repeat until you have saved up enough carrots for your next major pull. It's just a gacha. It's really not that hard a concept to understand, but for some reason, the anituber world has grabbed this and ripped it to shreds. As you saw, one of my personal favorite streamers, Pete from the channel Pngtuber, go give him a follow and a watch, has streamed it for roughly around, only 90 hours, which has also managed to send him slightly viral thanks to his approach to shoutcasting the race with a filter on his microphone that makes him sound like an old-timey man. It's actually quite clever what he's done. Even Ludwig had a big competition for this game. I believe it was a case of you had to take a horse from start to finish without spending any money and get the best possible result. And a bunch of people participated. Yeah. I don't know what has grabbed everyone's attention so much, but hey, it's grabbed it. But yeah, this is a pretty basic, if honestly, rather limited gacha game, with even less selection in the poll pile than most other gacha. Compared to the likes of Fate Grand Order or Genshin, this is small potatoes. In fact, I think this game has as many pulls on the whole as Fate does common pulls. And the actual gameplay, if you can call it that, isn't exactly much to write home about either. The basic gist is that the majority of the gameplay is you train up 5 traits that your horse girl has, watch a small animation of them training until race day, at which point you choose a running tactic and just kind of pray. It's not a boring game by any stretch. But unlike most other gacha, the grind is the entire idea here, not just the thing to do after the main story. I will, however, give this game credit for doing something that, well, I can't think I've ever seen another game ever do, really. And that's that it's got a very unique reward system for winning the major races in the story mode. And that is that when you win, you get fully animated Hatsune Miku-esque musical numbers that are all fully animated and motion capture and sung by the voice actors, which honestly is kind of cool to watch. It's a fun little serotonin booster after watching what is basically a luck-based pull of if your horse happens to win. But the reason I am talking about the game is because that there is actually an anime attached to this that no one seems to really care about. And to be honest, after watching it, I don't know if I blame them, but boy, I get why no one's talking about it. After all, this is my anime video, and therefore, we're gonna talk about it. We actually have 2 studios to thank for the creation of the series. One of them is PA Works, who are the folks behind the wonderfully depressing Angel Beats, as well as the Professor Layton movie, which, kinda slaps. And the other is Studio Kai, who brought us the 2nd season of Captain Tsubasa and the Futo Tentai movie Kamen Rider Skull no Shouzu. But the folks pioneering the whole project is a company called Sai Games. Now, if at any point you are a tween anime fan, that company's name should be relatively familiar, because these are the folks that gave us the wonderful Zombieland Saga, the Idol Master Cinderella Girls U149, and everyone's favorite homoerotic ice skating anime, Yuri on Ice. So, to say that the creators have kind of a history with single-sex anime, little bit of an understatement. The show follows a young horse girl named Special Week, who grew up out in the sticks of Hokkaido with her adopted mother after her birth mother sadly passed away in childbirth. We follow her as she ventures all the way to Tokyo to live out her dream and enroll in one of the most prestigious running schools in the whole country, or it could be the only one for that matter. They don't ever really go into that. It might be the only one, I'm not sure. Traisen Academy. On her very first day in Tokyo, she becomes completely enamored with a other young horse girl named Silence Suzuka, as she watches her run in a practice race and win by quite a hefty margin, and go on to give her own stage performance, but not before Special Week gets felt up by some random guy who is admiring her thighs. Yeah, it's one of those shows, which, hey, gave me something to watch for, I guess. Before heading back to the dorms, where it turns out she has completely missed curfew and therefore has to stay in the guest bedrooms and will be assigned a housemate in the next episode. The next day sees the start of her career proper by enrolling at the school and learning the ins and outs of running before Special Week takes part in her very first training race, where she comes a very, very distant second to a future rival and Pete's favorite horse girl, it seems, El Condor Pasa, who is then chosen to replace Silent Suzuka in the school's main team, Team Rigel. Heartbroken, thinking she won't be able to be part of Silent Suzuka's team, Special Week heads back to the dorms, where she gets kidnapped, or I suppose that'd be horse-napped, by 3 other girls, and taken to a small room where, hey, remember that pervert from earlier? Well, he's back! Before anyone's worried that this is going to turn into a decidedly more adult anime and I'm going to have to upload this somewhere else, it turns out that the perv is actually everyone's soon-to-be favorite, slightly sleazy but loving horse girl trainer named, well, his name is Trainer. Yeah, his actual name is just Trainer. I don't know why. All the horse girls get 2 names, but for some reason Trainer just gets called Trainer. And he is in charge of a small independent team of runners known as Team Spicker, and wants Special Week to become their ace in the hole, and, lucky for her, the girl she became enamored with, Silence Suzuka, had been transferred to them earlier that day, and ultimately, that helps sway Special Week into joining the group, and this show kicks off in earnest. Each episode sees Special Week and the group in general grow. Special Week grows as both a runner and performer, enjoying the heights of winning and the crushing lows of losing, always surrounded by her teammates and eventually friends to cheer her back up, all the way with the goal of becoming the very best horse girl in Japan, so that she can keep the promise she made to her adoptive mother and her birth mother. And that's the show. There is not much to this one. You know, it's a pretty basic cutesy anime for girls, so, you know, a 27-year-old watching it's probably kind of weird. I mean, the show has some quirks, from the Hatsune Miku-like performances to the weirdly flirtatious way the girls interact, and the odd levels of perv that are shown. It's very much a show aimed at tweens, and I think more specifically tween girls. In fact, if you were in the anime community back in the day, around 2018, 2019 when this first came out, it was actually kind of a meme for being just a weirdly beloved show that doesn't really have all that much substance. There was Umamusume stuff all over Tokyo for a very brief period, and no one really knew why the hell it was there. I'd argue that it's to teen girls what Dragon Ball is to teenage boys. How Dragon Ball is just all super quick fights and really macho. Umamusume is really, really cutesy and all over the top performing. So, you could see why it's very popular with the teenage female crowd. I will say, one very fun thing that the show does is that almost every character that's a horse girl is actually named after a real-life horse that existed. Whether they run in major tournaments or didn't really do much to shake the foundations of history, they're still remembered in this show. Probably a bit of a strange epitaph, but, you know, at least they're remembered, I guess. I will say I don't know if the lore is that they are reincarnated as horse girls, or if they're just named in honor of the horses. But either way, it's a nice little nod to the art of horse racing, and I think it's just kind of wholesome. It also does really well on the more minor details as well. For example, all the girls' shoes that they wear when they're racing actually have little horseshoes on them at the very front. And you can actually see Special Week and Silent Suzuka maintaining them at different points in the show. And I think it's a really nice little detail to show that, hey, the spirit of horse racing is still alive in it, even down to the horse shoes. They also don't ever forget about the ears and the tails movements. Sometimes when you have a anthropomorphic character, the animators can forget to actually move their tail, for example. But in this show, they make sure to keep them moving every now and then to make sure everything doesn't stay too static, and to give a little bit of movement and life to everything that's happening. But I don't know why this show has generated a game that has really captured the attention of everyone. Don't get me wrong, it's a fun show. I binged the first season in like 2 days after I started watching gameplay of the gacha game. And I may have downloaded it myself and stayed up till 4 AM one night trying to win races, but that's beside the point. It's an enjoyable game, but I don't totally get why all of the Anitube universe has really grabbed hold and are refusing to let go. I could not tell you why. It's rather strange. I also don't necessarily know if the game has translated over to new viewers, because everyone that I see that is playing it, aside maybe Iron Mouse, who I think has watched it, I don't think any of them have actually watched the show. And I don't necessarily blame them. Look, it's not a bad show, okay? If you want to just turn your brain off and just kind of have mindless fun, it's good for that. And if you're learning Japanese, honestly, it's kind of good as well, because it's more of a simplistic show, so they speaking pretty simplistic Japanese for the most part. So even if you're just starting, you can kind of catch on to what is being said pretty well. But it's, you know, it's not exactly, the hardest show in the world to follow. It's not exactly Jojo. So if you've had a busy day at work and you just want to throw some anime on, it's not the worst thing in the world to watch, to be honest. I mean, hell, if you've got a friend that wants to try and get into anime and they don't know what they want to watch, this is a pretty good way to introduce them to cutesy stuff. I actually got my housemate to watch this show. She enjoys anime, but she doesn't really watch it all that much. But because we were talking about it, she decided to start watching it, which got me to watch the show as well in the end. And I mean, honestly, it's pretty enjoyable. Like I said, if you just want to shut your brain off, do nothing, no thought, all vibes, it is kind of worth watching, I'm gonna be honest. But there's not much to say about the show. Maybe if I was a 15-year-old girl, I'd have a lot to say about it, but even then, I don't know if they'd have a lot to say about it. So, yeah. I'm gonna call the video here. We're gonna keep it nice and short today, just a little ramble of me not knowing why the hell this gacha game has gripped the nation's attention. Hey, if you've played it, by the way, please tell me what your favorite horse is. Or your favorite support card, because there's not really anything else in the game that you can have a favorite of. Yeah, it's just strange. It is literally the anime version of horse girls. Not like horse girls in the anime, I mean like human beings that are horse people are kind of strange people. And this exemplifies them. This should do them proud. Yeah. So I'm gonna call it here. It's a great meme. It's fun to watch. It's great to watch Pete shoutcast it, and it's cool that he went viral for a very brief period. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to the show. But hey, if you like this slightly rambly video, please consider hitting subscribe and hitting the like button. I'm gonna be honest, you're probably not going to, and you're probably not gonna hit the like button, because, let's be honest, I'm trying to ride the wave, but look, if you're trying to build a channel, sometimes you gotta try and take risks and try and ride the wave. It ain't gonna work, but hopefully it does. If you liked it though, please consider dropping a comment and telling me what your favorite character is in the show, or the game, or whatever. I, as always, have been Berks the Gaijin. And remember, tell your friends, tell your family, tell a stranger on a train that this is where you'll find the funky freshest of very, very dumb content. YouTube will shortly be showing you 2 separate videos. One is my previous anime video, and the other is a random video that YouTube thinks you will enjoy. So please consider watching the pair of them, why don't you? I mean, my previous video's kind of a banger. I think you should check it out. I hope wherever you are in the world, you are having a sugoi morning, afternoon, or evening, or generally one hell of a day. And I'll see you in the next video. Sayonara. Bye-bye.